Hello and welcome to the Child Care Business Coach podcast. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I have a special guest, as promised, that's with us here today to talk about being legally smart. I love the phrase that you've coined, Maureen. So, Maureen, I will let you introduce yourself to my audience.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I love sharing my story and helping everyone get legally smart so they can protect their empire. That's my phrase, which I'm trademarking, which we can talk about later, and the importance of that. So my background's interesting. Never thought I would be in legal, ever. I've always actually been obsessed with, I remember growing up, my mom watched Law and Order.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And I loved Suits and The Good Wife. Those were some good binge-worthy shows on rainy weekends. But that was kind of my extent of, enjoying legal stuff. I've always been really involved in the sciences. I went to UCLA and was pre-med for a while. My mom passed away from stage 4 ovarian cancer. So that kind of turned me off of all the human meds and human science majors. And so I ended up switching to rocks and planets because they didn't bleed and it felt emotionally safer.
Yes.
So I could still be a nerd. And I didn't really, so I graduated with my degree in astrophysics and geology, but I didn't really play the tape forward about what that looked like in a corporate setting. And so flash forward 12 years later, I was wearing a hard hat and steel-toed boots and working at oil refineries. And it was this is not what I thought I would be doing at all. I thought I'd be in a bikini in Hawaii collecting lava samples. I have no idea what I thought I would be doing with that degree. So, but I left corporate and became a coach and entrepreneur about 8 years ago when I had all my own health issues and got degrees really just to learn how to heal my own body from autoimmune. And I was so passionate about really wanting to serve and help people that I kind of went on the crazy entrepreneurial journey that most of you are on if you're listening to this as business owners and childcare center owners. There's a lot that we have no idea about with growing a business. We have our passion, we have our zone of genius, and then we have to figure out all the other things. And so part of what I did was invest a ton in business coaching, marketing, funnels. And then when COVID hit, a friend of mine introduced me to Legal Shield, and I'd never heard of it. And that started this research around legal things. And I thought, oh my gosh, no one was ever teaching us this stuff. Yes. And it's just because they don't know either. We don't know what we don't know.
Right.
So I created Legally Smart, which is just an educational platform to now go back to all the communities I know that are coaches, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and helping everyone know what they need to know that they don't even know they need to know on a personal and business level so they can keep their businesses and not have things get shut down and not be overwhelmed by all this stuff, and connect them with Legal Shield and other affordable, cost-effective resources. We don't have to pay $500 an hour. So I love it.
And it is huge. You're right. That legal aspect of protecting your business is so very important. I don't think we all realize how fragile our businesses can actually be when the littlest things happen. And one of the things I teach all the time is that fragility of the business, where life comes out of nowhere. None of us can predict what's going to happen. I can guarantee you, I did not think I would be a widow 3 years ago, right? But here I am. And not being prepared at all times is really what can be detrimental to your business. And this is just the newest lesson in my life. I know that when it comes to having excellent operations, that was one lesson in my life that I now teach very well on how to have excellent operations. So if you need to step away, you can, and your business can run itself. But now I'm realizing that I had a huge missing piece, which was really being legally protected. So I'm 11 months out of my husband's passing, and I'm still in probate. And I'm still having problems right now within my own life. And I'm having a hard time buying a house. And there's a lot of things I'm dealing with, which if we had just had the proper legal structure for my companies and everything, I wouldn't be where I am today. But that's just one small area where you open yourself up for a lot of problems. I mean, there's contracts and our policies and procedures and the things we deal with employees. So what is your take on all of like just that protection? And maybe you can tell us some interesting stories that you've seen in your work with entrepreneurs and the legal things that we face.
Yeah, I will say that one thing that really shocked me the most that kind of applies across the board for any business owner, whether it's an online business owner, coach, brick and mortar. So your audience, pretty much we all have a website. I
Yeah.
think we need to get a website up to promote ourselves so people can find more information. Some of you may have educational content that you're passionate about putting out there to educate, parents on certain things. Maybe it's a vlog or a blog. So, and I had no idea that it's actually illegal to not have a privacy policy on a website, landing page, or opt-in page. When I found that out, and it's finable by $2,500 if caught per person.
Wow.
Per person that visits. There's crazy laws in Europe. There's child laws that apply. California has its own. Canada has its own. And you might think, I'm good. I don't live in any of those places. Well, it doesn't matter where you live. It matters if someone in that location can find your website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so and there's not like a privacy policy police floating around on the internet, like hunting us down, but if your business were to have something else, let's say you get audited by the IRS or if someone were wanting to sue you, if it were to come up in any sort of court event and they saw someone caught that, I mean, that fine alone could shut a business down. Delta Airlines got fined $37 million earlier this year for not having an adequate privacy policy on the bottom of like a holiday discounted giveaway landing page.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just a little thing. And, also with trademarks too, you might think, oh, I don't really know anything about trademarks. Isn't that just for Nike? They own the swoosh and just do it. All these things, Coca-Cola, big brands. And so what happens is a lot of us will just buy a domain name. We get really excited. We go to GoDaddy or we have the web developer find a domain name. And if we get the .com, we think that we can build a brand around it.
Yes.
But someone may already own that name, maybe not the website exactly spelled out the same way, and can actually give you a cease and desist letter. So if you've made a name for yourself in the area and people know your business as, Bright Shiny Kids, or I don't know, something like that, and someone were have maybe created a product 8 years ago you didn't know about and trademark that name, they can actually shut you down. And that would it's damaging. It just takes a lot of time and money to rebrand and do things that we don't need to do. So,
yep. So ironic that you say that because I know a business owner that right now that literally just lost about $2 million because there's a specific word in her business name that was actually basically trademarked, and she didn't know, and she used the word. And I can tell you this: the magazine owns the word, and they are literally suing thousands of different business owners right now for using this word, and it's a very, very common word. And when she told me about this, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And she ended up having to settle for $2 million just for using a word. And there's so many owners that can't afford a $2 million loss. And it's a word we use in everyday vocabulary. We've actually already used it today. And it's just crazy to me that somebody can be sued over something like that and not even realize that you're infringing exactly like what you're saying. So she's had to rebrand, completely change her company name, basically change everything based on this lawsuit.
Yeah. So, and a personal example. So I have, Legally Smart now, which is my coaching platform that I built around really supporting Legal Shield members and how to use everything. And I fell in love with the name Legally Savvy in the beginning. I thought, oh, it sounds more feminine. Because really I'm targeting really want to support mostly women and faith-based women was kind of on my heart. And I was like, Savvy sounds so much more feminine and fun, like trying to make legal fun, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So now I know a lot more about the legal stuff. So I used my monthly membership with my business plan to have free trademarking consultations with the trademark attorneys in the Florida law firm and ask them, can you help me? Can I even trademark this? Because I know how to do basic trademark word searches. But but there was two names that were really similar. It could be very complicated. So like someone had Legally Savvy CEO trademarked and Legally Savvy Business. And there's all these different classes too. So you can have like Rise and Shine trademark, that's a coffee roastery. And someone else can have Rise and Shine trademark, that's like a morning show podcast, because they're different classes.
Right.
Have two coffee roasting trademarks. And so I don't know enough about the classes or anything. So he got on the phone with me and spent like a good hour and said, it's a 12-month process to go through and get it trademarked. There's a chance it will go through, but about halfway in, we have to make it public and they can fight it. And he said, since you're just beginning, why don't you just go back to the drawing board before you invest any money in marketing and building a website, and just find something that you love. We'll do another search that no one else has trademarked. And I was like, gosh, dang it. Okay. But I'm so glad I did that, because I actually really like Legally Smart more now. So it was meant to be. And process of getting that trademarked. And I know it's not going to be shut down or turned down because no one else has anything similar. So with a lot of these things, and I know you shared your personal story about what you're going through after your husband passed, and it doesn't need to be like that either with our businesses or personal. So once you know what to do, it can be really simple and cost effective to be proactive and preventive versus reactive and defensive. So just think about like we do with health. A lot of us, we know we need to eat a certain way and focus on sleep and meditation and prayer and do the things that we need to do so that we can live longer versus waiting for that diagnosis. And now it's so much more taxing emotionally, financially, when you're behind and you're playing catch up and then trying to make the changes. And so that's kind of the same mindset I think we really get to have with the legal aspects of our personal and business lives.
Yes, absolutely. And ironically, there's so much more to it that I didn't know before I spoke to you. I was a Legal Shield member, but I didn't have your Legally Smart along with it because I didn't go through you in the beginning, which of course, for my listeners out there, I am now an affiliate. So we will have an affiliate link. If you want access to the Legally Smart, you do actually have to use the affiliate link in order to get that access. But I've had it for years and I didn't know like all the things I could do. I've had them look over things like my, some of my things like my contracts and different things, but I really didn't realize how not protected I was until we spoke. Even if it's little things like being able to collect from parents. And ironically, I pay 40% to a collection agency when I'm sending a parent to collections. And then you're telling me, wait a second, we can do collection letters. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much more. That bad debt that I've been chasing, I could get help with that. There's so much more that I didn't even realize I could do. And that's where the Legally Smart actually really comes in handy, because it not only gives us that protection, because Legal Shield is a great like lawyer insurance kind of, but the Legally Smart actually gives us, okay, now this is how you use it. These are the tools to make it really work for you.
Yeah. And it's, I have my master personal trainer certs and so many things. So the way that I kind of thought about it when I was creating this platform, and it really is like, it's just a free educational platform that people can go into. Or I guess another way to think of like you buy Beachbody supplements or shakes, but they're useless if you're not doing the workout routine. Right. So it's kind of like you can think of Legal Shield as, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for your attorney access. But then when you sign up, you get to join our community. And so you get the education, all the template documents. It's like the user manual. It's all the whole platform is just to help you maximize it, not be overwhelmed. I do implementation workshops for all of our members too, because I know sometimes it's just like, I don't want to get this done. So it's like, okay, let's make it fun. Website Wednesdays, hop on a Zoom, we'll play some music, knock out the privacy policy, get it over to your attorney. So yeah, it's just a great extra resource that, can help people beat the overwhelm so that you can really maximize your membership and get the most out of it and be fully protected.
So another thing that really caught my eye that you spoke about is something that we in the childcare industry really struggle with, which is online hate and just being able to protect ourselves. The image that we have is very, very important. And like you were showing me, there might be things in our past that we really don't relate to anymore, right? We change, we evolve. And for a childcare center owner and director, you definitely need to uphold a certain image. And I know that the membership also offers an ID shield, which
Yeah.
is a lot. And I thought that was just for like our personal like credit protection, right? But then you show me it's so much more than that. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that?
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's really important. Yeah, ID Shield is such a great product. And last year they partnered with so many other companies. I actually don't like that it's called ID Shield anymore because it really doesn't do it justice. Like you said, yes, it's like LifeLock on steroids in the sense it does monitors your social security. It monitors all 3 credit bureaus if you choose. It will, you can link your passports and medical ID and all that. But it also does this crazy thing called reputation management. And so if you are so willing and daring, you can run the program. Yeah, the first time I did it, I mean, I don't have Twitter and a lot of social media accounts, but I've been on Facebook pretty much since it started. Yeah. And I am, I'll be 40 next year. So I've had Facebook, I don't know, since my senior year in college, I think, at UCLA. So I would really like to think that I have matured a little bit.
Yes.
Almost 40-year-old woman relative to where I was in my late 20s living near Hollywood. And so it runs like it will flag things on profanity, nudity. And I saw some comments that I had made and, dropped some F-bombs or maybe some other things. I was like, okay, that's not my shiniest moment, and it gives you the opportunity to go delete those things or certain pictures that you would probably never find if you spent hours scanning your own social media back or comments you've made on other people. So it's just a really nice opportunity to go through and just kind of clean that up and make sure that everything that is out there now is reflective of, really what you stand for at this point in your life. And, because everything's online now, like we really have an online digital DNA. So that ID Shield also includes, password management, partners with Microtrend. So it has a virtual private network. So if you're ever traveling, you don't have to worry about hackers getting in anymore at public Wi-Fi's or that Starbucks or that hotel lobby, the airport. So it's a great.
That's huge too. Yeah, that's something my son and I keep arguing about. He hates my passwords and he basically went and changed all my passwords, made me a data sheet for it, printed it out, won't even have it online, gave it to me and it drives me crazy because it's so hard to manage all these safe passwords in our day. So that is another big one for me is just making sure that we're staying secure. I have had data breaches for my credit card processing before. And if I had healthier passwords, it wouldn't have happened. So we don't always realize those little things too, is just getting your credit card processing hacked. And the most ironic thing is when this happened to me, they actually deposited money into my account. They didn't take money, they were depositing. But they were literally running. I actually woke up the next morning to about 30,000 credit cards that had been ran using my account. And they were using my account to test the credit card numbers to see if they were valid or not. And then it was only $2 to $3 each, but 30,000 times. So I had to process all the refunds, which had fees. And it was a huge disaster, which had I just had healthier cybersecurity, it would not have happened.
Yeah. And the cool thing they also started doing last year too, when you have the Legal Shield personal plan, which is $29.95 a month, and that includes getting your estate planning done for you and your family, getting your will done. So we have the business plans you guys can look at for the actual childcare center that follow the business for contracts, employee handbooks, and all that stuff. But then the personal plan combined with ID Shield now actually does credit restoration counseling and credit repair and so many other great things. And then the other really cool thing, since we probably have a lot of parents that are listeners and maybe not relevant to the age of the kids in the childcare, but one of my friends, so when you have the Legal Shield membership, there's actually an attorney on call 24/7 So for emergency things, if you have teenage drivers, they can have the app on their phone and they get.
Oh,
So
right.
it's a great thing for parents. But one of my friends, her daughter was being bullied on Facebook. And
Oh,
she called the parents and they did not do anything about it. They were actually really rude about it. She called Legal Shield and got a call back from an attorney on a Sunday night at like 8 o'clock. And within 20 minutes had a cease and desist letter drafted up that she gave to the parents, and they were forced to take down all the comments from Facebook.
oh, that is fantastic. And a
So,
lot of times cease and desists are just scary enough. I've had to send
yeah.
several as a business owner.
Yeah. And so you can have all that stuff reviewed. So I think especially like for me being a single woman as well, it's really just helped me feel empowered in a lot of ways. Like I know even going to the mechanic and, feeling like, oh, here comes some, naive female, doesn't know anything about cars. And I knew they were overcharging me by like $400 or $500. And I was questioning about it. And I said, you know what? I don't think this is fair. And if you don't refund me this or do X, Y, Z, I'm going to have my attorney call you. And just me saying an attorney, and I knew I wasn't bluffing either. So
right, yeah.
And they were like, no, don't. We'll work something out. I'm like, okay, yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to know. That's I've actually had to use my Legal Shield several times for cease and desist. That's probably what I've used it the most for. As a childcare business owner, we get a lot of hate on social media. It's going to happen to all of us eventually. Holding parents accountable doesn't always make them happy. So whether we have to send them to collections or they stop paying and we have to kick them out, or sometimes just things get misinterpreted, they go and they bash us on social media.
Wow.
And for childcare centers, that can be very detrimental. Yeah. So that is, I had a couple of years ago, a parent that we just couldn't see eye to eye on something. So she made up a story, like total false story, made it up and blasted it all over social media about us on every forum she could find. And I ended up having to have a cease and desist letter written and sent to her. So and everything was taken down. Everything was taken down immediately. So for those of you who are dealing with social media hate, I know I've done an entire podcast episode on it and we talked about that. So I'm going to actually have to edit those show notes now so we can talk about our membership to Legal Shield. But that's something too, where now you have that attorney in your back pocket who can help you write those letters.
And those business plans are $99 or $169 a month.
So yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, the lower plan, if you don't need that, if it's a smaller center and you don't have that many employees, you could probably get away with the 99. Or if you're going to have a lot more documents reviewed, and we'll have the links so you can look and see which one's best. But I mean, for a couple hours of what we would pay out of pocket for an attorney's time to have all that stuff done, I can't believe you were paying $40. Or no, it's not 40% for a collection.
Yes, that's what I'm paying now. I'm going to have to move everything over. I pay 40%. One year, I can't remember what year it was, the 2013 or 14, I wrote off $16,000 in bad debt. So I lost 40% of that. Wow. Because I had to basically, I could have saved 40% of that. But yeah, when it comes to just keeping yourself legally protected, that is such a small price to pay. It's like having insurance for your legal issues, and legal issues can cost you tens of thousands of dollars without this plan. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to message. My team can jump on. We can schedule calls with you guys. Just send us an email to admin@childcarebusinessprofessionals.com and we can connect you with Maureen. My team is really learning how to step into this role as well. We're going to be making a lot of this childcare specific, like what Maureen has done for the Legally Smart, where she has a lot of contracts. We're going to be working on really addressing the needs of childcare centers. The other nice thing about Legal Shield that I love is that it is on a state-to-state basis because every state law is different. So if you're getting generic, different like parent applications or contracts, you got to make sure that it works for your state because every state is different. Every policy and procedure is different from state to state. So check out the link again. We are an affiliate now, so I do make a commission off it, and I really, really appreciate your guys' support. for all of the free information I give you out there and the work I do for early child education. This does help to support me. So thank you for using our affiliate links. And also that does give you access to the Legally Smart. If you don't use our affiliate link, you don't have access to Legally Smart. So Maureen, what are some final thoughts you have for us?
Final thoughts are, I hope you all feel empowered and realize that this can be easy to get done. Let us support you and help you with personal and business, because, being a business owner is not easy. And I know that you can hear my cat. It's amazing they're still alive after 10 years because I don't have children yet. And I love having my niece and nephew that I get to spend time with. And then, oh, you're acting up a little bit. I'm going to go home and take a bath. So it takes a very, very, very special person with a special calling to really work in childcare. So I acknowledge all of you for having that gift and, your generosity. And so let us help you make sure that it's protected. And, we can do everything we can to save you money and make sure you get to keep doing that because you're so needed.
Yes, absolutely. And the children deserve that protection too. They deserve a center to come to. Well, thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.